that studio can be moved from the first floor to the 7th floor. The first floor to the 7th floor. It's an incredible. It was really mind-boggling to see what they could do. Well, they weren't moving it when I was there, but it was kind of exciting to see how that was done. Jim, go ahead.
Roger. All right, that sounds good, man. Don't blow the A stuff before we start. Gosh, it's about time. Let's do it. Stand by. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program, where we air check record from 3:30 till 5 Eastern, and then post it all up on YouTube so everybody can come by and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page we have the recording of this afternoon, which will be entitled My Group AirCheck 12/14/18. Today's date 12/14/18. So here we go. And Charlie has joined us and has a story about, I guess, the RCA studios in New York. Is that a Roger?
No, it's the Studio 88. It's in the RCA building. The RCA building, of course, that's where NBC has been and was, and right in the RCA building. I think that building itself goes up to the 70th floor, and they do have an elevated studio, that can be elevated from the first floor to the 7th. And that is where I used to watch once a week Arturo Toscanini conducting the NBC Symphony Orchestra, and to see the size of that thing, and considering what they can elevate just by raising it up like an elevator, to me it was enough to blow my mind. It was fascinating.
Roger. Now, we're not talking about some kind of combo here. We're not talking about a bathroom-sized studio in some kind of an elevator form. It's a full studio for a full orchestra that goes up to the 7th floor. Is that a Roger?
Roger, and that also includes a fairly large audience area. It's a big area, and they could elevate the thing.
Roger, yeah, I guess so, because that'd be kind of bad if the orchestra went to the 7th floor, but the people stayed on the 1st floor.
I would be saying that would be stretching it a little bit.
Roger. So that's an immense task to take the whole orchestra and the folks up to the 7th floor. I mean, do you have any concept of how big that room was? Like 50 by 50 or 100 by 100?
Oh, it's hard to say. I would say probably about at least 90 or 100 by 100. It was big.
Roger that. And you know those musicians, I hope they were all straight, nobody was high or anything, because I imagine there's some centrifugal force moving up to the 7th floor, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, but I don't know how long it took them to get it up there, but they had all the connections for each floor, and sometimes they had to go up higher and sometimes lower. No matter how it went, it worked out, because I used to enjoy watching Toscanini, Ontario Toscanini, I think he was, conducting. He's long since passed on. Yeah, those were the days. And those were the days of the live TV, when anything could happen. And you never know what was next, right?
Roger. I wonder if they got frequent flyer miles for that little jaunt up to the 7th floor. And I wonder how often they did that. Do you have any idea how often they did that?
No, I don't. I wish I knew how often they would elevate the studio. But to me, it was fascinating. I never knew they did that until I went over there and had a tour. Took a, I think my voice is off a little bit right now. That's probably part of that audio situation. But anyway, it was on this tour, and it was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating to see what they could do. In fact, I remember the first time that I ever saw a demonstration on television itself. It must have been around 1948 or 7, maybe. It was another time I was over there, and they had this room and this camera, and you could see yourself on a screen. And those were the earlier days of TV, of course, black and white. I had a chance to see that. But it's always fascinating. But look what the technology has done. How it's exploded. You go back 120 years, there's nothing compared to what we have now. And for heaven's sake, we've been to the moon and all that sort of thing. It makes you wonder, how can this happen so fast? Go ahead.
Roger. Well, it's, once they get on to something, it's like a dog chasing a fox. They one person takes off where another person left as far as the development of a situation, just like radio, you had the pioneers that took it to a certain point, and then they passed on or did their contribution, and then comes along the next generation to pick the ball up, and so we go from CW to push to talk to 24-hour music, so that's just the evolution of things, Roger.
Oh, yeah. The evolution is incredible. You begin to wonder if it's something else behind all this. It's so fast. Look, I won't hold it any longer, Jim, and I appreciate everything you're doing for the fellows on the YouTube. My voice is a little off right now. It does get raspy every once in a while, and right now it is off slightly, so please forgive me. So I'll tell you what, I'll try. Now, next week, I'm probably going to have to be somewhere else at this time. I probably may not be able to get on next week, but this week we were able to get on. But your signal, 2025 with a line, beautiful copy. So I'll turn it back to you, Jim, and thank you very much for picking me up. KC9 Victor Kilowatt Victor, like that K1C
Roger, Charlie. 3's out of way. And if you talk to Jim FET, tell him I was suggesting +5 on the top end, +5 on the top end, and see what he says. So 3's for now, Charlie. Thanks for the report, and stay warm up there.
Well, we're going to try. I don't see any severe cold weather for a while, but we've had 75.5 inches of snow on the ground. Not on the ground, but that has come down, and we have close to 2 feet on the level ground here. But you sound great in here. If you talk to Jim FET, tell him I was suggesting +5 on the top end, +5 on the top end, and see what he says. So 3's for now, Charlie. Thanks for. Okay, 7-3, and I hope you can hear me.
Roger, Charlie. Thank you so very much. That last transmission came through beautifully. So we appreciate it. Thanks so much, Charlie. Up around the Canadian border. On our show opening up, and we are KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog program, and so if you have a radio that you're curious about the audio, what it sounds like, well, we are air checking, recording from now till 5 Eastern on this frequency as we speak. We are rolling tape, so if you've got a radio that you want to find out what it sounds like, give me a shout. It's KC9VKV. There was somebody, Denmark, out there. Kind of a weak signal right at my noise level, but Denmark, try it again, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. WB3, Germany, Denmark, America, Mobile 3, near Baltimore, Maryland, name is Bucky. Go ahead.
Roger, come back with the name one more time.
Bucky, Bravo, Uniform, Charlie, Kilo, Yankee, Bucky. QSO.
Roger, Roger. What's going on up that way?
Just on the way to the doctor to have an MRI on her knee and get everything fixed. But her station is talking about the RCA ring and all that type of disposition, what that might look like. We're running mobile here in a Ford F-150 with a Kenwood CF50 with a AT50 antenna and a homebrew antenna on the back, about 13 foot tall. And works quite well on 40 meters for us. We have a lot of fun. I need to get some more of your information about your recording. See how this thing's down. Yes, well?
Roger, now you were towards my noise level, and I didn't copy some of that, but that you were in your mobile headed towards the doctor, is that a Roger?
QSL. We're coming up on Caseyville, Maryland. QSL.
In Maryland, Roger, Roger.
QSL, near Baltimore, Maryland.
Near Baltimore. Well, you're coming through on that mobile. You're running 100 watts?
We're peaking about 35 watts, QSL.
Hey, now you gotta kick that radio a little harder and you gotta get at least 100 watts out of that mobile, Roger.
We have a good time with this. It works very well. We've run mobile for many, many years, all the way back into the early late 70s with a
Roger, Roger. Well, it's like my mama said, you don't have to smoke and drink to have a good time, you know. And I relate that to power. You know, I was copying a guy the other day that switched over to his QRP rig from his regular 100-watt radio. And the first transmission of that QRP radio, I think it was running 10 watts or something, was equal to the level that he was giving me on his regular radio, the 100-watt radio. And his second transmission was 2 dB higher than his earlier radio. And then he proceeded to walk the QRP radio down to 5 watts, 2.5 watts, 1 watt, half a watt, quarter watt. And I copied him all the way down to a quarter watt. Roger?
Yeah, very good. I've not heard anything that low. I have heard some 3-watt QRP rigs on the air. So, all right, sir. We're not far from where we got to be, so we'll say good evening, and we'll look for y'all at another time. This is WB3 GDA Mobile 3.
Okay, sir. Could you come back and do that phonetically? I got a pretty good copy on you now. Do your call phonetically.
Yes, sir. Whiskey Bravo 3, Germany, Denmark, America. WB3GDA.
Roger, Roger. And your name phonetically, please?
Bravo, Uniform, Charlie, Kilo, Yankee, Bucky. And my surname is Walker.
Roger, Roger. But your friends call you Bucky, right?
Yes, sir. I'm a junior, so that separates me and my father.
Roger that, Roger that. Well, we are recording our Qso-Vlog, so if you would like to hear what that mobile sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring you up to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a segment called My Group AirCheck 12/14/18, which is today's date. My Group AirCheck 12/14/18. Roger, Roger.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to write it down and try to meet the traffic light as well. My Group AirCheck. I'll see if I can find that. Coming up. We got a school bus here. Got to stop for the school buses. This is WB3 GDA Mobile. Thank you very much, sir.
Roger, Roger. See, it's that way. Now pay attention to your driving. We'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, the Qso-Vlog program. If you've got a radio you want to check out to see what it sounds like, give us a call. We are recording.
Whiskey Delta 0, Bravo, Bravo, radio, mobile 0.
Gosh, I wish I wrote quicker. Whiskey Delta 0, Bravo, Bravo.
Whiskey Delta 0, Bravo, Bravo, radio, mobile 0, Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, roger that. Kansas City, Missouri. What's the name there?
The name here is Jesse, Juliet, Echo, Sierra, Sierra, Echo. I just listened to you, kind of a little different. I'm not usually on this time of day, but heading home, about a 50-mile commute every day, so I was just wanting to see if the mobile was working.
Oh, it's a working for sure. Now, tell me you're at 25 watts.
Nah, it should be running about 100. It's an FT 857 running into a Hustler, an old single band Hustler on the back of my van. Over.
Roger, Roger. That's a good antenna, Hustler. And yeah, that's good. That's a nice signal there. You did well. You're doing about that last time you were about 7 dB above my noise level. We're running a reduced RF front end, so we stay out of AGC compression to preserve the best signal-to-noise ratio. So we are looking at your audio on the output of the audio output into a VU meter. So when I say 7 dBs above my noise, that means that I've got your level set at 0, audio level set at 0, and then when you're not transmitting, I have a residual noise level, which is 7 dB below your voice peak. Roger?
Roger, I got you there. I've got your call written down there. I may go over there on YouTube later and see what it sounds like. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, the noise floor here is about a S8, S9 here in the vehicle. Kind of typical. You're about 20 dB over.
Roger, Roger. Now, we will post this probably within the next couple of days. We usually give ourselves a couple of days to process it and get it uploaded. So if you go in a couple of days to YouTube and do that call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, it should be there, Roger.
Roger on that. Hey, I do appreciate it. I don't want to hold you up. I heard a few other people calling. They were somewhat in the noise here. Getting used to it in the car. The window's not down. You hear a lot of spark plug noise. Everybody else. I'll say 73 and appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Roger, Roger. Jesse, 3 is underway, sir. Keep that mobile cooking. It's doing great. And that antenna, the Hustler antenna, is doing its part. 3 is for now, and we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV. There was at least 3 stations in there, possibly 4. I thought I heard a Mobile in there. If there's a Mobile, go ahead. No Mobile in there, so the loudest one, go ahead.
3 Tango Romeo Golf.
Tango Romeo something?
3 Tango Romeo Golf. Tom and Pennsylvania.
Tango Romeo Golf. Tom in Pennsylvania. Is that a Roger?
Roger, Roger. I'm running a ICOM 7300. I'm using a FM30 ICOM mic. And I want to do an ICOM ALS 600 at about 400 watts. And I'm running an 80-meter silent quad.
Roger, Tom. Now, this is one of those circumstances that I keep talking about, the importance of top-end articulation, because you were giving me about 4 dB above my noise level, so I should have been able to copy you well, but I was having difficulty, and it has to do with needing a little more brightness on your audio so it will define the words a little bit better. That 7300 is a beautiful radio, and if the dynamic microphone is not going to perform as well as the hand condenser microphone that it came with. Dynamic microphones, by and large, have certain difficulties in achieving the articulation that a condenser microphone does. So, but nobody wants to use a hand mic on their radio necessarily, So what I advise is that you go to your top-end EQ and punch up about 4 or 5. If you have a 1 to 10 push capability, if it's labeled that way, 1 to 10, I would go to a 4 or 5 mid-range, mid possibilities on the top end. Roger?
Roger, I copied the up in the EQ. I don't know what that adjustment.
You're not familiar with your 7300.
I just got it set up this week.
All right. Well, do you happen to have a pen and pencil or paper and pencil?
Roger.
All right. What I would do if I were you, when you find where EQ is, when you find where equalization is, I would go to the top of the equalization, and I would bring that up to a +4 or 5. I would say a +4 for right now. A +4 on the top end. Leave your mid-range flat and go to the bottom end and make that maybe a -1 for right now till you can figure out what's going on. But that will start to help the dynamic microphone match the actual performance of the stock condenser hand mic that came with your radio. Roger? And Tom, I'll tell you, the conditional gods have got us. They have given you a 30 dB drop, and you're into my noise at the moment. Let's try one more time, see if conditions have reversed. If you can copy me, try again, please, sir. I'm sorry, try one more time. You got hit by some static. Try again.
Yeah, I was just asking about whether I could keep the
yeah, I got half of that, the first half. Are you asking about the compression? I tell you what, right now I can't copy you very well, so I would just leave the compressor where it is, and maybe we can just try that, working on that another day. There is a whole bevy of things that you can do that that 7300 is chomping at the bit to do. Roger.
All right, well, hey, I appreciate the information you did give me. I'll try to make some adjustments, and then I'll try another day.
Roger. Well, like I say, it's that EQ will, if you punch up that top-end EQ, that will help with the articulation of that dynamic mic. And that would be the first thing I would do. And I would also look at my ALC. There's another deal there. When you swap mics from a hand mic to a desk mic, you're going to probably have a difference in audio level from those two microphones. So I would check out my ALC. You have a meter there called ALC probably, and I would go to that meter and go for mid-scale to 2/3 deflection on that meter, and that you adjust that by bringing up your mic gain. Bring your mic gain up to where the ALC meter is reading 1/2 to 2/3 fluctuation. Roger?
All right, I copied that. I'm checking out my ALC right now. I'm about halfway to 2/3 the way up, so I don't know if that's sounding any better there.
Okay, the other thing is, KC9VKV. The other thing is that you want your radio to be in the widest format possible, in the widest band possible. You know, you have 3 selections. Put it in the top one, the 3K. Roger.
Yes. Now that's on transmit.
Repeat.
So that's the transmit. I was thinking that was the filters were for receive. But you're talking about a transmit selection?
Roger. That band selection covers both transmit and receive. So when you restrict yourself other than maximum, you are really doing yourself a disservice, because you're going back to 1954. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are cringing when I say that, but I'm just saying that you want to be in the widest possible band pass of the radio. And unfortunately, one of the things that's tricky about that 7300 is that everywhere you go, you have a chance to restrict your band width. Unfortunately, I would have wished that they had put just one place where you would adjust the bandwidth, because now you have to check your compressor, you have to check your AOC, or all kinds of things, equalization, to see how if you're in the wide mode. So go through those, make sure you're in the wide mode. Roger.
So I'm going to keep the compressor on and increase the widest band pass, and watch my ALC and adjust my equalizer. So those are great tips that you gave me there. I'm going to work on that, and I really appreciate the time that you spent doing with me. It's a really nice service. So KC9VKV, this is Whiskey 3, Tango Radio Golf, and 73. Thanks a lot.
Roger, 3's that away, and that's a beautiful radio. That 7300 is the all-time, so far in my book, best radio that ICOM has made. Although the 7610 is getting a lot of recognition, and I'll have to check that out a little bit more. I'm thinking in the ultimate situation, the 7610 may be a little more versatile radio, in that they have a magic circuit in that 7610 that is called drive. And what drive does is a dynamic range cruncher. In other words, usually, you start off uncompressed and all that, and you have a dynamic range of 10 to 1 or something like that, because you're not processing anything. And then as you develop your ALC, drive that a little bit, and then as you bring the compressor in there at about a 3 or so, you start to close that dynamic range to about a 3 dB range, which is pretty good. But that 7610, I have seen the dynamic range crunched by using that control down to like a half a dB. It was just an amazing thing. So because of that drive control, the 7610 may ultimately outperform the 7300. But it's the same company, So what are you going to do? 3s. We'll have to say that to that gentleman we were just talking to, and I hope that he took notes and can find his equalization and be able to crank in a little top end for articulation purposes. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program.
Kilo Charlie 2, Tango Romeo X-ray.
Tango Romeo X-ray?
Call is Kilo Charlie 2, Tango Romeo X-ray, New York City.
Romeo X-ray station in New York. Go ahead.
My name here is Kilo Alpha November, and I've been listening to you giving audio advice. I'm on a new Flex 6400M, still in the process of learning how the thing works, and I'm wondering how my audio sounds to you.
I'd like to hear a little bit more. We unfortunately had someone in there with you. I'm talking to New York, and I still haven't got their call letter, but it's RX at the end. Give me the call one more time, please.
Sure, the call is Kilo Charlie 2, Tango Romeo X-ray.
I got you there. And what's the name?
The name is Sam, Delta Alpha November.
Roger. And you're running a 7300? I'm sorry. What did you say you were? What radio?
I have a new radio here.
Yeah, you're slipped into my noise level, sir. You have slipped into my noise level. Mother Nature is not being kind this afternoon. She's putting in 30 dB hits. So try it one more time, New York. Kilo Charlie 2, Tango Romeo X-ray. Try it again, please. TRX, maybe try it later when conditions get a little bit better. If you notice that my signal come up, then hopefully your signal to me has also come up. So give us a shout a little bit later, and then we'll see if we can make contact. This is KC9VKV. There was another station there. Other station. Go ahead.
Yeah, Pure 1 Tango Sierra with Pure 1 Tango Sierra with Sierra.
Tango Sierra Whiskey. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Daryl. Hello, Tom, Tango Oscar Mike. Your 5 and 9 signal report. The handle on this end is Tom, Tango Oscar Mike. Tango Oscar Mike. We're in southern New Jersey, there. A town called Marlton. Mike Alpha Radio Lima Tango Oscar November. There, southern New Jersey. So, KC9VKV. This is K1CSW. Have copy.
Let's see. Well, you are about 8 dB above my noise level. You are about 8 dB above my residual noise level, Roger.
Yeah, very good. We're only running 100 watts with IC7200. IC7200. Our next radio will be an IC7300 at some point there. That's the only HF radio in the track there. You're doing very good here, and your signal report is 5 and 9. Once in a while you go up to 10 over 9. 10 over 5 and 9. So you're doing an excellent job there. So what is your handle there on that end, and where is your QGH? KC9VKV. This is K1CSW, Southern Jersey.
Roger, this is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and we're located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio, right at Louisville. Roger.
Clarksville, Indiana?
No, you're close. You're close. New Albany.
New Albany. I used to live in Clarksville, Indiana. The call line you'll remember is W9JBQ. His call line now is the emergency radio station there, racing station there. JBQ there. Signal people there. Clarksville, Indiana. I used to live in Clarksville, all over the country. I used to work guys in New Albany years ago there. I've been in New Albany about 2008. I was in New Albany there. Highway 52, Highway 55, and cut over there, Ohio. Fantastic there. And Clarksville, Indiana, right next to New Albany, Clark County. So very fine. Here's the noise board up, as I said there. So it's good. KC9VKV. This is K1CSW.
Roger, Tom. Well, good to check in there, man. You were towards my noise level in some of that, but I did copy most of it, and we say hello to Clarksville for you. And next time you get down, drop by New Albany. We'll be glad to see you there. And so we'll say 3s for now. I wish I had a better copy. We could talk about, radios and what you got. You'll be very happy with that 7300 for sure. Yeah, definitely will be. That's a radio that I would get if I were. Well, anyway. So 3's away, Tom. You have yourself a good afternoon, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program, where we roll air check from 3:30 till 5. And if you Eastern, and if you have a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. We are recording, and we'll post it up on YouTube. And then you'll be able to go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and you'll look for a session called My Group AirCheck 12-14-18. Today is date, My Group AirCheck 12-14-18. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. This is K1 That's for sure. But we're only buying 100 watts. We thought we're buying about 6,700. Okay, Jeff. 7th grade, we're going to work the home area. Again, this is K1 10W. Kilo 1 Tango Sierra Whiskey saying 7th grade, Jim. Take care.
Roger, Tom. 3's away, sir. And you have a good afternoon. This is KC9VKV, and we are recording. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Kilo Charlie 2 Tango Romeo X-ray again. That station came in probably 3 o'clock. Are you hearing me now?
Romeo X-ray station, yes. Hearing you a little bit better now. Come back.
Okay. I was overwhelmed by a phone station about 160 away. I was thinking that you'd give me a little audio report on my new 6400.
You are about 3 dB above my noise level at the current time, and I can't really discern clean enough to give you an opinion that least level. Maybe in a little bit the level will come up, and I can hear you cleaner and be able to see exactly what you're doing. Roger.
Okay, thanks for that. I'll listen for a while, and if your signal gets stronger, I'll come back to you. Thanks very much. Kilo Charlie 2 Tango Romeo X-ray.
Roger. To give you some idea, I'll go down to 100 watts. This is 100 watts right here, 100 watts right here. So I'm hearing you somewhere around here, and that's back to the KW. Roger.
Yeah, well, that's advertising for it. Okay, thanks very much.
Roger. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. We are check from 3:30 till 5, and then post it up on YouTube so you can hear what your radio sounds like. So give us a shout. KC9VKV.
Kilo Bravo 3, Whiskey Golf Echo.
Victor.
Whiskey Echo 3, was that?
Kilowatt Bravo 3, Whiskey Golf Echo, over.
Whiskey Golf Echo, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Copy Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. I'll copy. This is a Yaesu 891 at 100 watts into an MCOM 2 60-foot end-fed antenna, over.
Roger, sounds good. Whereabouts are you?
The QTH is Oilfield, Lehigh County, Eastern Pennsylvania.
Roger, Pennsylvania. Yeah, you're making a good trip. Let me see. Talk about your radio for a minute, and I'll see what your signal strength is.
Roger. Operating conditions here is the Yaesu Fox Tango 891 and LDG AT-100 Pro 2 Auto Tuner. And then for the antenna, it's a Chameleon MCOM 2 60-foot end-fed sloper kind of, and I got a counterpoise on it.
And for the power, I got an MFJ 4125 Mighty Light 25 amp switching power supply.
Roger, Roger. Well, you also have a signal that's 10 dB above my noise level. You're running a plus 10 over my noise level. And I got to read it that way because I'm looking at your audio on the audio out of the receiver into a VU meter, and I'm running a reduced RF front end to stay out of compression, AGC compression, and also running a 20 dB pad in the front end for what that's worth. But anyway, that's a really good signal, and your audio sounds really good.
Well, you're like 10 to 15 dB over S9, because you were so like 10 amp off, 2 amp off, or however that works. But yeah, it's easier listening, and you got very good audio. So yeah, that's what I got. And for now, I might get some add-ons down the road where I save up my nickel and dimes. The name here is Jimmy. I spell Julia India Mike India.
Roger, Roger, Jimmy. Well, this is Jim, and we're located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. So we'll say 3s sound good, and if you want to hear yourself and your audio in the next couple of days, we'll get this posted up to YouTube. And if you do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that's KC9VKV, that'll take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And once on that page, you will look for a session called My Group AirCheck 12-14-18. Again, My Group AirCheck 12-14-18. Roger?
My Group AirCheck 14-18?
Today's date, 12-14-18. Roger?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, yeah, there you go. All right, well, fine business, Jim. That was fun, and I'm glad I got through you, and I'll play with my little RCA notebook I got. I just got a good internet connection, so I should all work. I'll log into it, and we'll get one there as well.
Roger, Roger. Well, maybe next time our conditions might be a little bit better. You've dropped a little bit down into my noise level. So we'll say 3s for now, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program.
Whiskey 2, United Sugar Radio Portable.
Whiskey 2 station, come back with a call again, please.
Thank you, Whiskey 2, United Sugar.
Okay, station standby. I'm trying to copy Whiskey 2 United Sierra something. Finish off the rest.
Roger, United Sierra Radio.
United Sierra Radio. Gotcha there. What's the name?
The name is Bill, Bravo India Lima Lima, and my lucky day. I was just tuning the band, got a brand new, very inexpensive headset, and tried to adjust everything, listening to the monitor. But it sounds like I got the right guy at the other end. Name here is Bill, Bravo India Lima Lima, and if you could give me a critical report, I'm using the FT891, same as that previous station, and we have a very inexpensive headset that I've heard on the air before that sounds pretty good to my ear, but I've got the ability to adjust a little bit here on the parametric equalizer to really get it to where I should get a really good result.
All right, I am getting a fading situation up and down. The band is unstable at the moment, but I will tell you that the EQ right now is does not have a bunch of bottom, but that would be a good EQ if you were going to contest or a DX, but if you're going to Qso, I would broaden that bottom end out a little bit, maybe three clicks up on the bottom end. Now, if you're in a 3 clicks boost on the bottom end, regardless of where your level is right now, if you wanted to Qso more, it would be 3 clicks more on the bottom. Roger.
Roger. Made that adjustment real quick. I have the EQ set at 100 and bandwidth at 8, and I'm currently at 0. Before I was at minus 10 for the previous setup. Over. You
are minus 10 on the bottom?
Before I was. Now I am 0. Over.
Roger, Roger. So now you're, let's see, how many dB plus over where you were?
I'm not sure I know. Again, the EQ setting has a -15 on this, on the 100 is the cutoff, -15, and the bandwidth they say is 8. Right now, I am set at 0, and what I'll do on the next go round is go plus on the level and see what you hear and see.
Roger, the first thing I would do is make sure that your radio is in wideband. Make sure your radio is in the widest band that it can do. Roger? Roger, correct. That's what you want to be in. And then need to hear a little bit more of your audio in the clear. So come back and tell me about your antenna.
Fine business. We're running portable. We're sitting in a motorhome, and I've got a dipole, a 40-meter dipole rigged off the back of the ladder of the coach. It's at the apex about 30 feet, and it's oriented east-west. So it should be getting about as best I can get up in your direction. Jim, I hope that's enough audio. What do you think? Over.
Roger, sounds pretty good to me. You might check, you know, that's the thing, though. Right now we have marginal situations, so a good QSO equalization might not be ideal in a marginal situation. You might want to be more in a DX mode or a contest mode, EQ-wise, than a QSO mode. But right now, I would say that your modulation EQ could go either QSO or you know, contest. It's you know, theoretically it could stand a little more bottom, but I think right now it might get just to muddy the thing, you know.
Okay, I gave it just a little bit more bottom, figuring that this might be the setup on 103,000 RQ, and we'll run with that. If we're running DX, we'll close down the bandpass a little bit, go to 300, 2700, and hopefully that'll make this a pretty versatile headset. Over.
Roger, Roger. Now, are you running a 3-band EQ?
Roger, Roger.
What's your middle band? What status is that?
1300 at the frequency, 8 at a level, plus 8, and the bandwidth is 8. Over.
Roger, Roger. Well, it sounds good. I would go with that for a while and see, you know, if anybody salutes or how many. It's like a sidewalk survey, you know. But, you know, a lot of folks think that they have to run in the reduced bandwidth mode. If I pay good bucks for a radio, I'm not going to run that sucker in reduced bandwidth. I mean, there's just no practical reason for me to do that. I mean, I'm allowed 3K. I'm gonna take it, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Absolutely, and you know, you're right. Audio is terribly subjective. However, my gauge is when I hear somebody that sounds good and has spent a little time to get their audio, it just sounded perfect. That's the guy I want to report from. So I really appreciate your help.
Roger, Roger. Now, are you running a hand mic, or are you just close to your desk mic?
I'm running. This is a headset, and I've got a boom, obviously, on the headset. Over.
Okay, because I was picking up a little transient stuff. You might want to check out a little fortification in your windscreen, your foam windscreen. Maybe a little thicker, because you know, a really good headset boom, you can't tell because they do such a good job at suppressing the transients that you don't realize that the guy's you know, swallowing the mic, you know, and that's the way I suggest running that, but you just maybe could put a little more foam on your side of that windscreen and just increase the turbulence reaction a little bit, you know, to null that a little bit more.
Okay, well, that's something I'll put on a list for sure. But again,
set here, you think it's acceptable, and I'll run this for a while and see what happens.
Oh, yeah, I would run it just like that, because that last transmission, you were only 2 dB above my noise level, but I could understand your words, Roger.
Fine business. Okay, Jim, well, thanks so much. I'm sure there's other stations like you information for the website, and I'll certainly be looking to check that out. Thanks again, really appreciate it. 7-3, have a wonderful day. This will be Whiskey 2, United States Radio Portable in Silver Springs, Florida. We'll be back to you, and again, thanks so much.
Roger, Bill 3's that way, sir. And like I say, we should have this posted in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do that call it a search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to the Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, look for a session called My Group AirCheck 121418. My Group AirCheck 121418. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.
Kilo Golf 5, Julie, Delta.
Call sign with Delta in it.
Whiskey 2, Able, Charlie, Delta, W2, ATV.
Roger, this is KC9VKV. Who we got there? Gosh, sir, you were just about 1 dB above my noise level. Mother Nature is not being kind this afternoon, and you were 1 dB above my noise level. Just slipped down to there. You were initially a few dB hotter than that, but it did slip. Let's try it one more time, Bill.
Okay.
Dick?
All I understand is and I have a terrible Nathan. Nathan is in my attic. So I do appreciate it. So this is W2 ATV, Able, Charlie, Delta. And I will go QR2. Thank you.
Roger, Dick. Sound like your frequency might be just a little low. Sound like your frequency might have been just a little low. I'm on 7189.0000, Roger.
That's where I got it dialed at. 718900. I was off just a hair, but I brought it to 00. Did that make any difference at all? Over.
That's the hair that made a difference, sir. You sound good now, Roger.
You're into the mud also, so I guess maybe you should change it, but I do think you lose your mouth in the fall. Over.
Yeah, I couldn't copy much of that. You're into my noise, but let me say 3s for now, Dick, and thanks for giving me a try. Maybe later on conditions might get better. If so, give me a shout, Roger.
Roger, you just came up at least 3 dB, so the band is changing and changing very rapidly. 7 weeks, I appreciate all the effort and the work. That's this program. W2 always calls it ATV.
Roger, Dick. 3's that away, sir. Have yourself a good afternoon. This is KC9VKV, the Qso-Vlog program, where we air check from 3:30 till 5. And then post it up on YouTube so you can come take a listen to what your radio sounds like. KC9VKV.
November Charlie, 3 Uniform, NC3U.
The November Charlie station, come back with a call.
Yes, the call here is November Charlie, 3 Uniform, and the name is Sal, Sierra Alpha Lima, and I'm in Valley Forge, PA.
Roger. That's sounding good. What's your radio?
Here I'm running a Kenwood 990, and I'm using a PR 781 microphone.
Roger, Roger. Well, Mother Nature is playing her games this afternoon, doing 30 dB fades. You were 10 dB above my noise level and then drifted down into no man's land. So, gosh, I don't know why Mother Nature's being so difficult this afternoon, Roger.
No, I totally understand. You sound great up here. Audio is perfect, and I can only wish that I sound half as good to you.
Well, that you came up there, and you do sound good. Maybe we're getting some halfway decent conditions. And tell me about your antenna system.
Well, my antenna system is really compromised. I'm running a 53.5 foot end-fed wire connected to a 9-to-1 balance. Roger.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Well, your audio sounds really good. I would run with that for sure. Do you primarily DX or CQ?
I primarily just CQ. I just sometimes if there's a contest, I'll give people points. I work, some of the contests like when there's the Lighthouse Weekend and Memorial, the museum chips, and the 13th Colony, stuff like that, right?
Roger that. Roger that. Well, you could use a couple of dB on the bottom end push. But like I say, if you get in a traffic jam there, that bottom end is not going to help that much. So maybe you compromise, maybe just to bring it, push one click up from where you are on the bottom end, and we'll call it a day.
Okay, I will do that. But where are you located, my friend, and what are you using?
We are located next door to Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the river from Louisville, across the Ohio from Louisville in Indiana. And the radio is an older Yaesu 990. It's about a 30-year-old radio, but it's been pretty heavily modified both in transmit and receive. Roger?
I turned a couple clicks up on the lower end here. I have one sitting right here. I have an ST990 and an ST1000. Beautiful radios.
Roger, Roger. I think so. And particularly after all the work, that's gone into it, I would. Well, it's my favorite radio. Outside of the 7300 now, we could arrange a change or a swap. No, I wouldn't swap it. But 7300's a good radio too. It's just, one of those radios that every once in a while comes along that's just a classic performer, Roger.
Oh, Roger. Okay, well, I won't tie you up, my friend. You take care, and I hope you have a great night, and thanks for being here to say hello to.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, and we can just pray for Mother Nature to come to her senses and stabilize herself. She must be drinking or something. 3Z away, sir. Catch you later. It's KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program.
November 3, my Union Mobile.
The November 3 station, come back again with your call sign phonetically.
Hey, good afternoon. November 3, Mexico, Italy, Quebec, Mobile, over.
Roger, Roger, Mobile. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Pasadena, Maryland, which is between Baltimore and Annapolis, and I think you and I spoke a few weeks ago, over.
Could have. Are you running 100 watts or what?
Yeah, I'm running 300 watts out of the amplifier.
Oh, Roger that. Yeah, I do believe I recall the wattage. I just, it's kind of an exception. Most folks call it even with 100 watts in a mobile. It takes the true amateur radio operator to get that power up. Roger.
Oh yeah. We just have a ham stick. An 857D in the truck with the amplifier.
Yeah, that ham stick's a good antenna for the mobile. Roger. We were located near Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Name here is Jim, Juliet, India, Mike.
And we'll let you go and continue on. 73. And happy holidays, N3 of my Q-Mobile.
Roger, Roger, Brian. 3's underway, sir. Stay right side up and have a good afternoon and good evening. And you're sounding good. Catch you later. This is KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. We are air checking between 3:30 and 5 this afternoon, and then posting it later on YouTube. So if you've got a radio you want to hear what it sounds like, give me a shout. There were 3 stations in there. Loudest one, come again. No, that wasn't the louder one. Gosh. This is KC9VKV. Let's try it again. We're standing by.
Kilo Charlie 3, Juliet Papa Papa.
Papa Papa station. Come back phonetically with a call sign.
Yes, Kilo Charlie 3, Juliet Papa Papa.
Roger, Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo and Victor. The name is Jim.
QSL, Jim. This means we're just 50 miles south of Baltimore, Maryland. And we had a QSO back in September and April. I heard you just talking to a mobile Marylander there.
Oh, Roger that, Roger that. I hear, if I can hear him, I'll talk to him for sure. Sometimes it's a job, like if they're just in towards my noise level, I'll try to pull them out best I can, Roger.
Roger on that. Everybody out, regardless of where the bands have been up and down.
Yeah, that's a Roger. Particularly as steep as the curves are today, they're like 30 dB drops for sure, and so you just go from like a 10 over to in the mud, and Mother Nature's sitting back there laughing.
QSL, in fact, you're doing that to me right now. You're approaching 10 over, but then it's swaying back to about an S8. Earlier you were down a little bit lower.
Roger, Roger. Well, we're trying, our range, we're trying from Montreal to Miami and New York to New Mexico in that plus 10, plus 15 range. Of course, Mother Nature's got to help a little bit, Roger.
QSL, yeah, you dropped down to an F5 there. Well, anyways, I'm using the AC FTDS 3000 here, just 100 watts on a random in-fed wire antenna.
Roger, Roger. Well, from what I could hear, it sounded good. And if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll find a session marked My Group AirCheck 121418. Again, My Group AirCheck 121418, and that will be you somewhere in there, Roger.
QSL, I'm gonna have to check that out. I think I tried to do it that last time and didn't have enough time. Messed up. So I will give it another try.
Roger, Roger. Well, starting to get a little co-channel blow-by here. Imagine that. A little co-channel blow-by. Well, I know we're giving as good as we're getting, so we'll press on. This is KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program, recording live to Memorex, or, well, I guess it's not Memorex anymore. It's live to digital from 3:30 till 5. And then we post the whole thing up on YouTube, and you can drop by and check it out. It's KC9VKV.
November 5, India, Tango
Gosh, there was about 4 again. It gets difficult when they're all together. I'm trying to pull them out, but I couldn't pull out anybody there. There was somebody that hung out at the end. That was should have been able to hear them, but their EQ didn't have quite the brightness that it needs. This is KC9VKV. Who was that hung out a little bit at the end? Nothing heard. Well, I guess I wouldn't know if they hung out at the end or not because they couldn't hear the other stations. Oh, well. This is KC9VKV.
November 5, India, Tango X-ray.
India, Tango X-ray. Go ahead.
Yeah, I get a pretty good signal down here in the Orleans area. You're about 9 over. I'm down here running with 100 watts. And we'll see that
Roger. Well, you wound up in my noise. Mother Nature is not being nice. She's not playing fair this afternoon. You went from probably about a 7 over my noise level to into my noise level. And through no fault of your own, it's Mother Nature to blame. Let's get Mother Nature. KC9VKV.
you're right about that, too. Anyway, I'll check in, say hello. You might not hear anybody. Okay. Okay, I'll go to
So the first thing after you get your 7300 would be a power amp at about 500 watts to a kW. really make it happen there. Get your 7300 and then a 500 or kilowatt kicker, and boy, oh boy, Katie barred the door. Well, ITX, gosh, sorry to say it, but you are in my noise at the moment. So maybe conditions will change in a while, and you can give me another shout if you see my signal come up. So we'll say 3s for now, and this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, in the Qso-Vlog show. Again, there was, gosh, maybe 4 that time, but they're all, must be 100 water time, because they're all colliding at about in my noise level. Well, I'll jump down here. Now this is 100 watts. This is 100 watts, so this is where you, what I'm probably sounding like to you, or not sounding to you, or should be close to sounding to you, as opposed to the KW. Roger, roger. And I do that only to say that's why I can't copy you, because you know, the conditions are not that good. Although we may sound good to you, there's a little bit of energy differential there. But we should keep trying. We should not fall victim to Mother Nature. Never let her see you cry. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo Alpha 3, Sierra.
Kilo Alpha 3, go ahead.
Yes, all right. Kilo Alpha 3, Sierra Kilo. The name is Bob. Copy okay?
Was that Bob?
Yes, that's right. Bravo Oscar Bravo, and the call sign is Kilo Alpha 3, Lima Sierra Kilo.
Roger, roger, Bob. Now, you just messed up my recording, and I'll tell you why. When I upload to YouTube, YouTube has a little sensor that they put on uploads, and they take the highest volume and reduce it to their 0 level. They take the highest volume and reduce the whole thing down to their 100% level. So you just had an excursion there that was about a +6, and so my whole volume level is going to be 60 dB low, except when you come along and you'll be at 100%.
No, I'm sorry for a balance, yeah. 7,300, but barefoot, so seeing if I can get in. But yes, name is Bob. And ICOM 7300 barefoot to an
off-center vertical, or off-center bend vertical.
Roger, Roger. Well, you got the radio. That's the 7300. I don't see how they can make that many 7300s. I just can't understand how it's possible that they could have manufactured so many 7300s. It is the radio of the year, maybe of the century. I mean, them folks is unbelievable. I mean, it's just a great radio, and I'm glad you have it, Bob. Maybe we need to work on your antennas and bring you up. What's your location?
Western Pennsylvania, pretty close to Lake Erie, just back.
I did get pretty close to Lake Erie. Well, now you should have some very good land, what you would call that, land conductivity up around the lake area there. And so it might make it an ideal area for a vertical antenna as opposed to a horizontal antenna, or, you know, like a dipole or something.
Standby antenna, but I pulled it down and did some modifications. I never got it back for the snowfly, so we'll come to that and 20 radios
Roger, Roger, Bob. Well, I missed most of that because it was in the noise. So let me say threes to you, and again, if later on you hear me better to you, then give me a shout. Maybe conditions will get better. Mother Nature will decide to be kind instead of being cruel. We shall see. Threes, Bob. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program where we air check record from 3:30 till 5 Eastern, and then we post it up on YouTube so everybody can come and do a call letter search on YouTube for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, if you look for a session called My Group AirCheck 12, 14, 18. My Group AirCheck 12, 14, 18. And those numbers are today's date. So this is KC9VKV. And again, there were 2 or 3 stations right at my noise level. But try it again. This is KC9VKV. Right at the end of that, somebody was moving up. Try again. Nothing heard. This is KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll record it and put it up on YouTube.
November 5, Zulu Hotel Bravo.
There was a November 5 station.
November 5, Zulu Hotel Bravo.
Zulu Hotel Bravo. Roger, Roger. This is KC9VKV. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, KC9VKV. This is M5ZHQ. The name is Wayne. Over.
Roger. And what's the name there?
Wayne. Whiskey Alpha Yankee November Echo.
Roger, Wayne. What radio are you running?
Right now I'm running my Yazoo 991 100 watts into an inverted V. Over.
Ah, yes, the inverted V. That's my antenna of choice. I have 3 inverted Vs at about 35 foot on a tower, and we have developed a tuning method whereby all 3 of those antennas are running a 1.01 to 1. Except when it rains, and they go up to 1.05 to 1. But normally 1.01 to 1. And the method is that we use the negative side or the ground side to adjust the SWR, And the high side we use to bring it on frequency. And we keep going back and forth till, you can walk it down, just 1.01 to 1, Roger.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Just came up right at the end of the transmission. I missed most of that. Like I say, conditions are not good today. Roger, Roger.
Very good, very good. Could you repeat the YouTube connection? Over.
Roger, this is KC9VKV. And the YouTube connection is my call sign. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Use that as a search on YouTube, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, there's a bunch of our Qso-Vlogs, but you'll be interested in the one that we're doing today, which is entitled My Group AirCheck 12-14-18. My Group AirCheck 12-14-18, which is today's date. Roger? Roger, Roger. Name here is Jim Juliet India Mike, and we're located just beside Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side. Roger?
Very good. We are in Richardson, Texas, just immediately north.
I copy Texas. What part of Texas?
Dallas County, Texas.
Dallas County, Texas. Well, we're trying to get out to New Mexico. We've got a mantram. We have a saying, Montreal to Miami and New York to New Mexico. And I haven't heard anybody from New Mexico yet. Do you think we're making it out that way?
Well, you've got a pretty good signal in here to North Texas. Phase is good, but it's a good signal, and I imagine you probably could do that.
Roger, Roger. Well, we'll believe it when somebody from New Mexico comes sailing in and says hello. But anyway, so let me say threes to you, sir, and we do have you recorded, and we'll post it up on YouTube in the next couple of days. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Thanks for coming back. 73, and enjoy the entire Ready Q here with KC9VKV.
Roger, Roger. That was Wayne. Is that a Roger?
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger, Wayne. Three's that away, sir. You have yourself a good afternoon and a good evening, and we'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog show. Station, come back again phonetically with your call sign, please.
Victor Echo 3,
Bravo,
Bravo Oscar Alpha.
Oscar, Oscar?
Bravo Oscar Alpha.
I'm not catching the last phonetic.
Victor Echo 3, Bravo Oscar Alpha.
Oscar Alpha. Ah, there we go. The missing letter. Alpha. Roger, Roger. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Name is Alan, Alpha Lima Lima Alpha November, and this is the nation's capital city of Ottawa, about 20 miles to the east side of it. Go ahead.
All right, that sounded interesting. You did fade a little bit, but what's your location?
Outside of the city of Ottawa, Ontario, a little town called Castleman, Ontario. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger, up in the Canadian area. Now, how far are you from Montreal?
We're just about center in between, a little bit more westward, but probably about in the area of 70 miles east of us. Due east of us would be the city of Montreal.
About 70 miles east of Montreal, Roger?
70 miles to the west side, it would be east of my location. 70 miles east of my location. Go ahead.
Roger, west of Montreal. And what's our signal strength up that way?
Yeah, 9 little rest, 9 pushing S10 plus 10 roughly right now. Signal-wise, been fading up and down as I've been listening to you, but you're coming in pretty good here this afternoon. I'm running a Foxtrot Tango Delta X-ray 1200, and the standard best mic, the MD100. That's what I'm running here for audio, and you're going to do 3 EQ. I can turn off the processor. I'm running with the processor right now. I can punch that off if it is annoying to you. Go ahead.
Roger. Now I do have you about 2 dB above my noise level at the moment. Just about 2 dB above my noise level. Well, you would think then that that we might be giving a plus 10 into Montreal?
Roger, you're at plus 10 up here. And I am running with the processor on right now. I can turn it off if it's problems to copy me, but I am running with my processor on right now. I can remove it if you wish. Go ahead.
No, leave it on. That's probably making the difference between being able to copy you and not, Roger.
Okay, very good. I just analyzed my I'm kind of off work right now. I got a broken foot. Oh, I've been out to know my rig a little better, so I've been playing around with the mic EQ and the processor here, and I think generally we got it pretty well optimized for my voice. Again, probably needs some work, but it's always work in progress, as they say. But I think it's working not too bad. You're copying me okay right now this afternoon, and I guess the name there is James, or you go by Jim, I believe. So nice hearing you, and I won't hold you up. You have other stations wanting to call you. I just wanted to get in there and say hello and see how you were copying me this afternoon from up here near Montreal, between Montreal and Ottawa. So back to you, KC9VKV here. This is Echo 3, Bravo, Oscar Alpha. Go ahead there, Jim.
Roger. Well, you know about EQ, the thing is that when the transmission leaves your QTH and heads out for parts unknown, it faces a lot of dilemmas and adversity to get from your house to wherever it's going. And the first thing that usually suffers is the top end EQ on the audio. The first thing that tends to get lost is the top end, and that is because of the refractions of the atmosphere occurring at different levels, and therefore the bend time coming back to join or mingle with the primary signal causes a certain phase angle delay, and of course that phase angle represents the possibility to cancel, phase angle cancellation, and that phase angle cancellation starts at the top end of the audio spectrum. So the first thing that goes is the syllabic range, or the articulation of the audio. Roger.
Very good, you're well versed in audio. Well, understand, that's great, and yeah. So it's a thing whether to run or not. I am running my bandwidth at 3K on this rig. I just switched up to that. I was listening to one of your former conversations, and I am trying it with the bandwidth at 3K right now. It was initially set at a lower range radio. So anyway, hopefully all this helps, and we will let you continue on. Another station I'm sure wanting to call you. With the weather up here, AWX is in 1232 Fahrenheit. It's freezing rain right now, light freezing rain and kind of rain, so a mixture of the two. So a little milder here today, Jim, up this way. So I'll pass it back to you. If you want to get on with other stations, if you're still hearing me okay, hopefully. Mother Nature, you go ahead.
Roger. Mother Nature is doing a 30 dB cut, then she brings it back a little bit, but she doesn't give you back the 30. I think she's a poker player. She doesn't give you back what she took, never. Well, occasionally, but usually once she starts, backing down, she just gives you back a little bit of what you had. But anyway, what I was saying is that you might want to maybe push that top end just a couple of clicks harder, because of that the problem with the syllabic range getting lost in the translation. So it might be just a tad brighter than what you would think, but then that will be mostly perfect in a lot of situations. Roger.
Work on that, what you said. Anyway, a little more, and maybe come back to one with another
Roger. Well, we do our Qso-Vlog program every Friday afternoon between 3:30 and 5 on this frequency. So if you get a chance, come to join us. I really appreciate the situation from your ideal vantage point next door to Montreal. If we can't get anybody from Montreal, they must have an embargo on ham radios up there, because I've never ever heard anybody from Montreal. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'll say 3s for now, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday afternoon. We'll be looking for you. This is KC9VKV 3s. And this is the KC9VKV Qso-Vlog program. We record your radio and audio and then post it on YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and check it out and hear what you sound like. We turn into pumpkins at 5 o'clock, so we're really getting close. If there's anybody that wants a quick air check, this is KC9VKV. And nothing hurts, so we'll wrap. We've had a ball this afternoon from 3:30 till 5. If you get a chance, join us next Friday from 3:30 till 5 Eastern. And if you're, done something, you changed mics or changed radios or whatever it is, you want to hear what you sound like, give us a shout and we will record you and then post it later on YouTube. So for now, we'll say 3s, and this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, and we'll be clear.